Lyra Vance adjusted her uniform as she walked into the main training hall of the Arcturus Space Academy. The hall was enormous, stretching as far as the eye could see, with glowing panels embedded in the walls and ceiling, and advanced combat droids lining the sides. The air smelled faintly of ozone and metal, a constant reminder of the technology around her. Cadets from different planets practiced their drills, their movements precise and powerful, enhanced by cybernetic suits and energy amplifiers. Lyra looked down at herself. She wore a standard training uniform. Nothing special. Her hands were bare, unmodified, and her body was entirely human, without implants or enhancements. She felt a twinge of doubt as she watched other cadets perform gravity-defying jumps and deliver punches that could smash through steel. In her first few months at the academy, she had already been labeled the weak cadet. Instructor Kale stood on a raised platform at the front of the hall, his arms crossed, and a sharp, critical gaze scanning the cadets. He was a legend among instructors, tall, muscular, with cybernetic enhancements on his arms and eyes that glowed faintly as he measured strength, precision, and potential. His reputation alone intimidated even the bravest cadets. Cadets! Kale's voice boomed across the hall. Today, we will test your raw power against the reinforced training walls. Every strike counts. And remember, this academy does not tolerate weakness. Lyra swallowed hard. Her first test had been a disaster. When she had thrown her first punch at the wall weeks ago, it barely dented the surface. She still remembered the laughter, the snickers of her peers, and, worse, the shake of Kale's head. But something inside her refused to give up. Her grandmother used to say, "Strength is not only in the arm, but in the mind." Lyra repeated it silently to herself. She clenched her fists and stepped forward, ready to try again. "Next!" Kale's voice cut through her thoughts. She stepped onto the marked spot in front of the wall. The reinforced surface gleamed under the hall lights, designed to absorb and redirect powerful impacts. Cadets before her had left marks and cracks, but nothing significant. Kale's eyes narrowed. "Vance, let's see if you've improved since last time." There was a hint of amusement in his tone, but mostly skepticism. Lyra took a deep breath. She felt her heartbeat in her chest. She focused on her stance. Feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, hands up, but relaxed. She had studied the movements of her body countless times in the past months. Her training had been secret, away from the eyes of the mocking cadets. She swung her first punch. The impact was weak. The wall barely shifted. A small echo of laughter ran through the hall. Kale's eyebrow raised, and he shook his head slowly. "Pathetic," he muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "How do you expect to survive in space combat if you can't even break a training wall?" Lyra's cheeks burned, but she didn't step back. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. She had learned something in the past months that Kale could not see. There was more to strength than brute force. There was technique, timing, and focus, things her peers had abandoned in favor of cybernetic enhancements. "Try again," Kyle ordered, his voice sharp. Lyra's first punch had been a warning, a test of her own body. Now it was time to apply everything she had learned in secret. She closed her eyes for a moment, centering herself. She felt the tension in her muscles, the rhythm of her heartbeat, the flow of her energy. She had discovered that if she aligned her body perfectly, the force of her strike could multiply, using not just her arm, but her whole body and mind. She opened her eyes and launched her second punch. The wall groaned. A crack appeared, running from the top edge down toward the center. Gasps echoed through the hall. Cadets stepped back in surprise. Kale froze, his mouth slightly open. This time, her punch hit with a resonance that shook the reinforced surface. For a moment, silence fell. Even the droids stopped their movements, as if recognizing the unexpected power that had erupted from a purely human body. Lyra stepped back, her chest heaving. She didn't fully understand the force she had just released, she only knew that her secret training had worked. The crack in the wall widened slightly, and small fragments fell to the floor. Kale's eyes studied her, and something in his expression shifted. It was not admiration, at least. Not fully, but curiosity and disbelief. "You," he began, his voice low. "That was unexpected." Lyra wiped the sweat from her brow. She didn't respond. Words were not needed. She had proven to herself that she was more than what anyone had labeled her. More than technology, more than numbers, or enhancements, she was human, with untapped potential. The cadets around her whispered among themselves. "Did you see that? How did she do that? That wall is supposed to be unbreakable." Lyra ignored them. She knew that respect would not come from a single act, no matter how impressive. She had to continue, train harder, and refine what she had discovered. After the training session, Lyra walked to the Academy's observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly before her, distant suns casting pale light on the terraformed planet below. She thought of the galaxy, the countless challenges humanity faced among advanced civilizations, and a sense of determination filled her chest. If a human body, unenhanced and underestimated, could break a training wall, then what else was possible? Her communicator buzzed. It was her roommate and friend, Tara Lynn, a cadet from the Andromeda sector. "Lyra," Tara's voice was excited. "I saw it. You actually cracked the wall." Lyra smiled faintly. "Just focus and use what you have. Nothing more." She paused, her eyes on the distant stars. "Sometimes the strongest weapon isn't what others expect, it's what you discover inside yourself." Tara laughed, though a bit nervously. "Well, whatever you did, it worked. You just became the cadet everyone's talking about." Lyra shrugged. She didn't want fame. She wanted mastery. She wanted to understand the limits of human potential, and then surpass them. The Academy had taught her that cybernetics and enhancements were the standard, but she believed there was something inherently powerful in humanity that could still shine. As night fell over the Academy, Lyra continued her exercises in secret. She practiced movements in front of mirrors, studied holographic records of ancient human warriors, and experimented with the flow of energy in her body. Every small improvement, every subtle adjustment, brought her closer to understanding the full power within. And deep down, she knew this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of threats and wonders, beyond comprehension. If humanity was to survive and thrive among the stars, it would not just be through technology, but through courage, determination, and the hidden strength of the human spirit. Lyra clenched her fists one last time before sleep. Tomorrow, she would face the training hall again. And this time, she would not just break walls, she would break the limits imposed on her, proving that even the smallest human spark could ignite greatness in a galaxy full of giants. The next morning, Lyra woke before dawn. While most cadets slept or tuned their cybernetic enhancements, she quietly slipped out of the dormitory. The Academy's corridors were empty, silent except for the faint hum of power conduits running through the walls. Today, she would begin a new chapter of her training, one that did not rely on strength measured by machines, but on the hidden potential of the human body itself. She entered the Academy's vast library, a place few cadets visited. Towering shelves held thousands of ancient texts, historical logs, and holographic records. Most cadets ignored these records, preferring to rely on the latest technology and combat simulations. But Lyra had always been curious, drawn to the stories of humans who had achieved greatness without enhancements. She activated a holographic display and searched for records of human physiology, biomechanics, and martial techniques. The interface responded instantly, projecting detailed diagrams of muscles, joints, and nerve systems. Lyra studied them intently. She discovered something remarkable. Ancient humans had mastered the art of channeling energy through their bodies with perfect alignment and precision. They could deliver punches, kicks, and strikes far stronger than their size or muscle mass suggested. The key was timing, focus, and control. Something technology could amplify, but humans could naturally develop if trained properly. Lyra's eyes widened as she read further. The human body is capable of force amplification through micro-adjustments and energy flow, she whispered to herself. If aligned correctly, even a normal human can generate impacts stronger than many enhanced cadets. Her mind raced. The thought thrilled her. All this time, she had been told she was weak, ordinary. But here was proof that she was only at the beginning of discovering what she could truly do. She spent the entire morning reading, absorbing techniques long forgotten. By midday, her notebook was filled with sketches, instructions, and exercises. She learned about how the legs, core, and arms could work in perfect harmony to transfer force, and how breathing and mental focus amplified strength. Each concept excited her, revealing a path that no cadet at the academy had dared to follow. That afternoon, she found an empty training room and began to experiment. First, she focused on her stance, feet planted firmly, knees slightly bent, back straight. She flexed her muscles carefully, feeling tension and release in the right order. Then she tried her first strike, slowly, deliberately, analyzing how the energy traveled from her feet through her torso to her fist. It felt different. Even without a wall in front of her, she could sense the force she was generating. It was as if her body had become a conductor, channeling energy precisely where she wanted it. The feeling thrilled her and scared her at the same time. She had never known that such power could exist inside her own frame. Days passed in the same pattern. Lyra trained in secret, refining her movements, learning to focus her mind, and aligning her energy. Every motion became deliberate, every strike a calculated expression of force. Slowly, she began to notice changes in herself. Her reflexes became faster, her muscles more responsive, and her confidence grew. Despite her progress, Lyra remained cautious. She did not want the other cadets to see her training yet. Many had laughed at her before, and she had learned that pride could come with ridicule if shown too soon. She wanted mastery first, recognition second. One evening, as the twin moons of her planet rose in the sky, Lyra sat on the observation deck, meditating. She focused on the flow of energy through her body, imagining it like a river running through every muscle, every joint, every fiber of her being. She realized that strength was not simply force, it was harmony. It was how every part of the body worked together in perfect balance. Her communicator buzzed. It was Tara again, checking in. Lyra, where have you been? Everyone's asking about you. KL seems different today. He's talking about you like you've changed somehow. Lyra smiled softly. I've been training in a different way, she replied. Something old. Something human. Tara laughed. Well, whatever it is, it's working. I saw you in the hall today. You moved faster, sharper. KL didn't stop staring. Lyra said nothing. She knew that observation alone was not enough to prove anything. Mastery required results. The next week, the Academy announced a new round of tests. This time, cadets would face the adaptive combat walls. A step above the previous reinforced walls. These walls were designed to analyze the force of each strike and adjust resistance accordingly. Even cadets with cybernetic enhancements struggled to crack them. Lyra's stomach tightened as she approached the hall. The walls were taller, denser, and pulsed with energy. Around her, cadets flexed their cybernetic arms and checked their power levels. Some whispered to each other, laughing quietly at her presence. The weak cadet? She'll get nowhere here. Kale observed from the platform, his eyes sharp and calculating. There was a tension in the room, a feeling that something unusual might happen, though no one could predict what. Lyra positioned herself in front of the wall. Her body calm. Her mind focused. She remembered everything she had learned. The flow of energy, the alignment of muscles, the timing of movement. Her first punch was deliberate but controlled. The wall absorbed most of it, but she felt the energy flowing through her body perfectly. A small crack appeared, almost invisible, but it was there. The cadets gasped. A crack in the adaptive wall was rare. Whispers spread. Even Kale's brow furrowed slightly. Lyra stepped back, closed her eyes, and centered herself. She had discovered a new technique. A way to amplify her punch by using the entire kinetic chain of her body. Not just her arm. She adjusted her stance, aligned her core, and exhaled sharply. Her second strike landed. The wall shivered, then fractured. Lines of energy spider-webbed across its surface. Some panels even flickered, unable to resist the human force she had generated. The room went silent. Cadets froze in shock. Kale's voice finally broke the silence. "Impossible," he muttered, stepping closer to the platform's edge. His eyes scanned Lyra, trying to find a logical explanation. "Explain this, Vance. You have no enhancements, no implants. How?" Lyra only smiled faintly. "I just used what I already had," she replied softly. "I learned how to focus, how to flow, how to use my body as it was meant to be used." The cadets stared at her in disbelief. Some were angry, unable to comprehend that a purely human body could achieve what their cybernetics could not. Others were curious, eager to learn the secret that KL himself could not explain. In the following days, rumors about Lyra spread through the academy like wildfire. Cadets whispered about the girl who could break the walls, a human with no enhancements, a natural force to be reckoned with. Some approached her, hoping to understand her methods, while others avoided her, afraid their own inadequacies would be exposed. Lyra welcomed none of the attention. She continued her secret training, exploring the limits of her body and mind. She practiced movements in slow motion, then at full speed. She experimented with punches, kicks, and strikes, always analyzing the energy flow, always refining her technique. She meditated regularly, learning to calm her mind and strengthen her focus. One evening, as she stretched on the observation deck, Tara sat beside her. "Lyra, I have to ask, are you trying to become some kind of superhuman? It seems like every day you get stronger, faster, more amazing. When have to going, saying for Weller, amazing." Lyra shook her head, smiling softly. "Not superhuman," she said. "Just human. We've forgotten what we're capable of. Most rely on technology. But there's something inside us, waiting to be discovered. I want to find it. I want to see how far we can go, without relying on anything but ourselves." Tara looked out at the stars, awed. "If anyone can do it, it's you. You've already proven that." Lyra's gaze stayed fixed on the distant planets and stars. She knew her journey had only begun. The galaxy was vast, filled with challenges that would test every human ability. But for the first time, she felt ready. Not just to survive, but to thrive. To show that humanity's greatest weapon was not machinery, but courage, determination, and the hidden strength within every individual. As she stood to leave, Lyra whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning. One day, the galaxy will see what humans can truly do." And with that thought, she returned to her training, her mind and body sharper than ever, ready to unlock even greater secrets of the human potential. The day of the combat evaluation arrived. The cadets gathered in the main hall, where the Academy's administrators and instructors watched closely. Today's challenge was different from previous training sessions. This time, The cadets would face adaptive combat walls, more advanced than before, and combat droids designed to test not just strength, but strategy, reflexes, and endurance. Lyra entered the hall, her mind calm but her body alert. Every step she took was deliberate, every movement controlled. Around her, cadets flexed their cybernetic arms, adjusted their enhancement modules, and murmured to each other. Many still remembered the day she had shattered the reinforced wall, and the whispers about her ability circulated like wildfire. Instructor Kale stood on the platform, his piercing gaze sweeping over the cadets. "Cadets," he announced, "today, you will face the evaluation that separates potential from excellence. You will strike, dodge, and strategize. Failure is not an option. The galaxy does not reward weakness." His eyes lingered on Lyra for a moment, curiosity and skepticism mixing in his expression. Lyra felt the familiar weight of expectation, but it did not intimidate her. She had spent weeks training in secret, learning to harness her human potential in ways no enhancement could replicate. She knew that strength was not merely in the body, but in the mind, in focus, and in timing. The evaluation began. Cadets approached the adaptive walls first, testing their strength against the shimmering surfaces that adjusted their resistance with every strike. Enhanced cadets swung with all their mechanical power, but the walls absorbed most of it. Some left small cracks, others left nothing at all. Lyra waited for her turn. When she stepped forward, she could feel the quiet tension in the hall. Every eye was on her, and even the combat droids paused, as if sensing something unusual. She placed her feet firmly on the floor, adjusted her stance, and focused on the flow of energy through her body. Her first strike was precise, deliberate, and calm. The wall absorbed some of the force, but a faint crack appeared, visible to all. Whispers spread like fire. Did she just... No enhancements? How? Kale's eyes narrowed, and he muttered something under his breath, clearly intrigued. Lyra didn't pause. She centered herself again, aligning her body perfectly. She exhaled sharply and delivered her second strike. The impact resonated through the hall. A series of fractures spread across the wall like lightning. Panels flickered, unable to resist the power she generated. The cadets froze, their disbelief palpable. Even Kale took a step closer, studying her technique. He began, but no words came. Lyra's calm focus had removed any doubt. Next, it was time to face the combat droids. They were programmed to anticipate attacks, dodge strikes, and counter with precision. Most cadets struggled, their enhancements failing against the combination of speed and strategy the droids employed. Lyra's turn arrived. She took a deep breath, centering herself once again. The first droid lunged at her, mechanical arms swinging. Instead of reacting with brute force, Lyra moved with calculated precision, dodging and redirecting energy. Each motion flowed naturally, like water moving around rocks in a stream. Her strikes were minimal but perfectly timed, hitting the droid at its weak points. The cadets watched in awe as Lyra danced through the sequence, avoiding attacks and disabling the droid with movements that seemed almost effortless. By the time the droid collapsed, Lyra was standing calmly, breathing evenly, her expression serene. Kale's eyes were wide. "How?" he murmured again. He had trained thousands of cadets, seen countless enhancements, and yet he had never encountered someone using pure human potential in such a way. As the evaluation continued, other cadets faced the droids and walls. Some performed well, others failed spectacularly. But Lyra's performance was unmatched. Her strikes were not just strong, they were precise, flowing, and intelligent. She demonstrated that human skill, when fully realized, could rival and even surpass technology-enhanced abilities. After the evaluation, the cadets gathered outside the hall. Whispers filled the air. A mix of admiration, jealousy, and curiosity. Some approached Lyra hesitantly, seeking advice. Others avoided her, afraid their own weaknesses would be exposed in comparison. Terra found her first. "Lyra! That was incredible. You didn't just break the wall, you practically danced through the droid sequence. How did you do it?" "Terra," Lyra smiled softly. "It's not just about hitting harder or moving faster," she said. "It's about using what you have in the right way. Focus, timing, alignment, flow. Technology can enhance strength, but it cannot replace precision or control." Terra shook her head, amazed. "I've never seen anyone like you." KL didn't know what to say. "You've changed everything here." Lyra laughed quietly. "I haven't changed everything. I just remembered something people forgot. Humans can be stronger than they realize. We've just forgotten how to unlock it." Meanwhile, KL gathered the cadets on the platform. "Today, one cadet proved something extraordinary," he announced, his voice steady but full of respect. "Lyra Vance has demonstrated that human potential without enhancements can achieve feats previously thought impossible. Let this be a lesson to all. Technology is a tool, but the mind and body, when trained correctly, remain the most powerful instruments we possess." The hall erupted in applause, though some cadets clapped reluctantly. For the first time, Lyra felt a sense of recognition, not just for herself, but for all humans who had been underestimated. That evening, Lyra returned to her room. She was exhausted, but exhilarated. The day had proven something vital. She was not weak. She was not ordinary. She had discovered the strength within her that others had dismissed. Her thoughts turned to the galaxy beyond the Academy. Humanity lived among countless species, many technologically superior. Yet she had discovered a truth. Humans had a hidden edge. With determination, focus, and courage, they could overcome challenges that even advanced technology could not. Lyra's mind wandered to the next step. She would continue her training, refining her techniques, and exploring the limits of human potential. The galaxy was vast, full of threats and wonders, but she was ready. She had learned that true strength was not measured by enhancements or tools, but by the mastery of oneself. In the days that followed, Lyra became a quiet legend among the cadets. Some approached her to learn her techniques. Others tried to challenge her, seeking to prove themselves, but few could match her skill. KL, who had once mocked her weakness, now watched her closely, offering advice only when necessary and observing with a mixture of respect and fascination. Lyra continued her secret training in the empty halls, her movements flowing like water, her strikes precise, her mind focused. Every day, she pushed herself further, discovering new ways to harness her strength. She learned to anticipate attacks, to move with grace and power, and to remain calm even in the face of overwhelming odds. One night, as she meditated on the observation deck, Lyra looked out at the stars. The twin moons reflected on the glass of the Academy, and distant planets glimmered like jewels in the dark. She realized that her journey was only beginning. The Academy was just the first step. The galaxy was vast, filled with dangers and opportunities. But now, she had the confidence to face them, not with enhancements, not with technology, but with the strength of a human fully awakened. Terra joined her on the deck, sitting quietly. "Lyra," she said softly, "do you think you'll ever face something bigger than this? Something that can't be beaten with just focus and precision?" Lyra smiled. "I hope so," she replied, "because if we've learned anything, it's that humans have more potential than anyone believes. And if we keep pushing, we can meet anything, anywhere. The galaxy may be full of giants, but we have something they don't: the courage to unlock ourselves." Terra nodded, inspired by her friend's words. "I think you're going to change everything." Lyra's gaze returned to the stars. "I hope so," she said softly. "And I'll do it one step at a time. One challenge at a time. One discovery at a time." As the moons rose higher in the sky, Lyra felt a quiet determination settle within her. She was no longer the weak cadet, the one dismissed by her peers. She was a human, capable of greatness, ready to show the galaxy what her species could achieve. And she knew that this was only the beginning of her journey. Word of Lyra's extraordinary performance spread quickly through the Arcturus Space Academy. By morning, cadets whispered her name in every corridor, their voices carrying awe, curiosity, and a hint of envy. Even those who had once laughed at her weakness now stared with a mix of respect and disbelief. Lyra had shattered the reinforced walls, defeated adaptive combat droids, and demonstrated a precision that no cybernetic enhancement could match. Yet, Lyra paid little attention to the gossip. Her focus remained on training, on pushing her body and mind to new limits. She had learned the hard way that recognition was fleeting, and that mastery required constant effort. That afternoon, Instructor Kale summoned her to the observation deck. The cadets watched from below as she ascended the stairs, unsure of what to expect. Kale's expression was unreadable, a mixture of scrutiny and curiosity. "Lyra," he began, "your performance has been remarkable. You have achieved what no cadet before you has. Without enhancements, you have proven that humans possess potential far beyond what is commonly recognized." Lyra bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Instructor Kale. I have only followed what I learned through study and practice." Kale nodded slowly. "Your methods are unorthodox, but effective. You are not only strong, but disciplined, observant, and intelligent. These qualities will serve you well in the challenges ahead. However, be warned, your success has also attracted attention. Rival cadets may try to challenge you, some openly, some quietly. Not all will respect what you have achieved." Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly. She had expected this. In a place where competition was constant and pride ran high, rivals were inevitable. "I understand, Instructor," she said calmly. "I am ready for any challenge." Kale's gaze softened slightly. "Good. Remember, Lyra, power alone is not enough. Leadership, strategy, and the ability to inspire others are equally important. The galaxy does not reward individuals alone. It rewards those who can unite and lead when the time comes." Lyra nodded, taking his words to heart. She had always trained alone, relying on her own strength and focus. But she realized that true potential extended beyond individual achievement. She would need to demonstrate not only her physical ability but also her character. As she returned to her dormitory, Lyra noticed cadets observing her from afar. Some offered tentative nods of respect, while others cast envious glances. Among them was Darren Core, a cadet known for his cybernetic enhancements and competitive nature. He had been one of the first to mock Lyra, calling her a human relic in a hall full of technology-enhanced cadets. "Vance," Darren called out, his tone sharp and challenging. "Seems like you've been hiding a secret all this time. You may have impressed KL, but don't think the rest of us will let you go unchallenged." Lyra faced him calmly. "I am not afraid of challenges, Darren. I only hope your strategy is as strong as your enhancements." He smirked. "We'll see about that. Tomorrow, the combat simulation begins. I expect you to be ready. Telm. 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 Telm." Lyra turned away, undeterred. She had anticipated rivalry, and she had learned that competition could be a tool as well as a threat. Every encounter, every challenge, was an opportunity to refine her skills and demonstrate the strength of humanity. That night, she trained longer than ever. The empty training hall echoed with the sound of her strikes, each one flowing with precision and controlled energy. She practiced new techniques, experimenting with movements that combined speed, power, and balance. Every strike was measured, every kick deliberate. She visualized the combat droids and walls she would face tomorrow, preparing her body and mind for every possible scenario. The next day, the Academy held the combat simulation. It was a high-stakes exercise, pitting cadets against complex scenarios designed to test not only strength, but strategy, endurance, and adaptability. The hall was filled with obstacles, moving walls, and multiple droids working in coordination. Cadets were expected to navigate the course, neutralize threats, and demonstrate quick thinking under pressure. Darren Core was first to demonstrate his abilities. With his cybernetic enhancements fully activated, he moved swiftly, striking with mechanical precision. Yet, as the droids adapted to his predictable patterns, he struggled to keep up. His reliance on enhancements slowed his reactions when the unexpected occurred, and he stumbled at a critical moment. When it was Lyra's turn, the hall fell silent. Every cadet watched, curious and anxious. She stepped forward calmly, adjusting her stance and focusing her mind. Unlike Darren, she relied entirely on her body and her training. She moved with fluid grace, dodging droid attacks and navigating obstacles with a rhythm that seemed almost natural. Lyra's strikes were precise, targeting weak points she had identified through observation. The droids attempted to counter her movements, but she anticipated their patterns, adapting in real time. Each motion flowed seamlessly into the next, conserving energy while maximizing impact. Within moments, the course was cleared, and the droids deactivated. The hall erupted in applause, and murmurs of astonishment spread among the cadets. Kale observed from above, his expression thoughtful. Lyra Vance is redefining what it means to be a cadet, he said quietly. Her understanding of the human body and mind is unparalleled. This is something I have not seen in decades. As the day continued, other cadets attempted the simulation, some succeeding, others failing. Darren struggled again, frustrated by his inability to match Lyra's adaptability. He approached her later, his tone begrudgingly respectful. You were incredible today, he admitted. I don't understand how you do it. No enhancements, no technology. Just you. It's impressive. Lyra smiled softly. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about understanding what you can do and using it wisely. Darren hesitated, then nodded. Maybe. I've been relying too much on my enhancements. I underestimated the power of the human body. Lyra's gaze softened. Strength comes in many forms. Technology can help, but it cannot replace training, focus, and determination. If you are willing to learn, I can help you. Darren looked surprised. Few would offer assistance after such rivalry. I will think about it, he said finally, turning away. The events of the day marked a turning point in the academy. Cadets began to reconsider their reliance on enhancements, observing Lyra's methods and strategies. Some were inspired to train harder, others humbled by her abilities. Kale, who had once doubted her, now studied her closely, recognizing that she represented a new path for human potential. In the evenings, Lyra continued her secret training. She explored deeper techniques, learning to control her breathing, her mental focus, and her energy flow. Every day, she pushed the limits of her body and mind, discovering new ways to amplify strength without relying on technology. One night, Tara joined her on the observation deck. Lyra, people are starting to talk about you all over the academy, she said. Some admire you, some are intimidated. You're becoming a symbol of human potential. Lyra gazed at the stars, her expression serene. I don't train for recognition, she replied. I train to understand what humans can truly achieve. If others are inspired, that's a bonus. But my goal is mastery, not fame. Tara nodded. I think you're already changing the academy. People are starting to believe again that humans can compete without enhancements. Lyra smiled faintly. Perhaps, but the galaxy is vast, and the challenges ahead are greater than anything we face here. We must be ready for anything, and that means continuous growth. As the twin moons rose in the sky, Lyra felt a quiet determination settle within her. Rivalry and recognition were only part of the journey. The true challenge was to discover the full extent of her abilities and to inspire others to do the same. She was no longer just the underestimated cadet. She was a symbol of what humans could achieve when they unlocked their potential. And as she returned to the training hall, ready for another night of practice, Lyra knew that her journey was far from over. The galaxy awaited, full of challenges that would test her strength, courage, and ingenuity. But she was ready. She had discovered the edge that made humans unique, and she would ensure that edge could not be ignored. The Arcturus Space Academy had never seen an event like this. A galaxy-wide tournament had been announced, drawing cadets from countless planets and civilizations. The challenge was more than combat. It tested intelligence, strategy, adaptability, and endurance. It was designed to push even the most advanced species to their limits. Lyra Vance had been selected to represent humanity. Not because of cybernetic enhancements, not because of alien technology, but because of the untapped potential that humans carried within themselves. News of her selection spread quickly through the academy. Cadets, instructors, and even the administration watched her with anticipation. Remember, Kale said, placing a hand on her shoulder. This is not just a test of strength. It is a test of ingenuity, courage, and spirit. Humanity has been underestimated in this galaxy for centuries. Now, it is your chance to show them what we are capable of. Lyra nodded, her expression calm. I understand. I will do my best, not just for myself, but for humanity. The tournament began in a massive arena floating in orbit around a neutral planet. Spectators from dozens of civilizations filled the stands. Holographic screens displayed competitors from every corner of the galaxy. Some were enhanced with technology that allowed them to move faster than sound, or to lift objects many times their size. Others were telepathic. Others had natural weapons, like claws or energy blasts. Lyra felt a flicker of nervousness, but she pushed it aside. She had faced challenges before walls, droids, rival cadets, and she had always relied on her human edge. Focus, timing, precision, and ingenuity. Today would be no different. The first round of the tournament involved navigating a complex obstacle course. Competitors had to avoid traps, defeat robotic guardians, and solve puzzles under strict time constraints. Many cadets struggled, relying on strength or enhancements to push through. But Lyra moved with calm precision. She analyzed each obstacle, anticipated the guardians' movements, and found the most efficient path. She completed the course quickly, without relying on brute force, leaving even the enhanced cadets trailing behind. The second round tested adaptability. Cadets were placed in a simulated battlefield, where their opponents could change strategies at any moment. Most relied on their abilities, attacking aggressively without thought for strategy. Lyra, however, observed carefully. She noted patterns, predicted movements, and used her surroundings to her advantage. When her opponent lunged, she sidestepped and used the opponent's momentum to redirect them into the walls. Her attacks were subtle but precise, each movement calculated. Spectators whispered in awe. How can a human do this without enhancements? She moves with perfect control. It's not just skill, it's instinct. Lyra's calm approach earned her victory in both rounds. She advanced to the semi-finals, where she would face a competitor from the Zilari species. A race known for their strength, speed, and natural energy manipulation. The Zilari cadet was massive, moving faster than Lyra had ever seen, with claws capable of slicing through steel. Many had already fallen to this opponent. Lyra studied the Zilari, noting the patterns in its attacks. It relied on strength and speed, assuming opponents would respond in kind. Lyra chose a different approach. She used feints, misdirection, and precise strikes to exploit openings. She stayed calm, flowing like water around the Zilari's brute force. When the moment came, she delivered a perfectly timed punch, using her body's alignment and energy flow. The force sent the Zilari stumbling, disoriented but unharmed. The crowd erupted. Lyra had proven that raw strength, even in a powerful alien, could be countered by precision and human ingenuity. The Zilari regained composure, respect in its eyes, and retreated to end the round. Lyra advanced to the finals, her reputation as the human edge spreading across the arena. The final round was the ultimate test. A simulated galactic crisis. Competitors had to neutralize multiple threats, save hostages, and prevent destruction, all under a strict time limit. Most relied on enhancements to accomplish the tasks quickly, but Lyra approached it differently. She analyzed every detail, coordinated her movements, and prioritized efficiency over brute force. Her human instincts allowed her to predict danger before it appeared. She moved through the scenario with remarkable speed and control, completing tasks that other cadets struggled with for hours. Where technology failed, her judgment succeeded. Where speed was limited, her precision made every movement count. At the final stage, Lyra faced the most formidable challenge, a massive robotic guardian, designed to simulate an interstellar warship in miniature. It had multiple arms, energy weapons, and shields that adapted to attacks. Cadets had failed against it repeatedly. Lyra studied the Guardian. She noted the rhythm of its movements, the timing of its energy pulses, and the small openings in its defenses. She positioned herself carefully, focusing every fiber of her being. With a swift, fluid series of movements, she dodged its attacks, slipped past its shields, and delivered precise strikes to its weak points. The Guardian faltered. Sparks flew. Energy shields collapsed. The massive machine finally came to a halt. Lyra stood, calm and composed, her chest rising and falling steadily. She had done what no cadet, enhanced or not, had ever achieved. The arena erupted in applause. Spectators from across the galaxy cheered for the human cadet, who had proven that even in a universe of advanced species and technology, humanity's hidden potential could shine. Kale approached her as she left the arena, his expression a mix of pride and amazement. "Lyra," he said, "you have done something extraordinary. You have not only proven yourself, but humanity. Today, the galaxy has seen the power of focus, courage, and the human spirit. Remember, this technology is a tool, but it is the mind and heart that make true heroes." Lyra nodded, a small smile on her face. "Thank you, Instructor. I only followed what I had learned. Humans have potential. We just need to discover it and trust ourselves." As the tournament concluded, Lyra was awarded the highest honors. She had become a symbol, not just within the Academy, but across civilizations. News of her victory spread through galactic networks, inspiring humans and other species alike. But Lyra remained humble. She continued her training, knowing that this victory was not the end, but a step toward greater mastery. The galaxy was vast, full of threats and opportunities, and she was determined to ensure that humanity would never again be underestimated. In the weeks that followed, Lyra's influence began to shape the Academy. Cadets who had relied solely on enhancements began to study human techniques, observing her training and adopting her methods. The reliance on technology shifted toward a balance between tools and natural skill. Lyra's journey had ignited a quiet revolution, showing that humanity's greatest weapon was not machinery, but determination, focus, and the courage to unlock hidden potential. One evening, Lyra stood on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. The twin moons reflected in the glass of the Academy, distant planets shimmering like jewels in the dark. She thought of all the challenges she had faced, the walls, the droids, the rival cadets, and now the galactic tournament. Each obstacle had taught her something. Each struggle had strengthened her resolve. Terra joined her, a look of admiration in her eyes. "You've proven that humans can compete with anyone, anywhere, without relying on enhancements. You've inspired everyone here, and maybe even across the galaxy." Lyra smiled faintly. "I hope so. But this is just the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and humanity has only just begun to explore what we can truly achieve. Our strength is in our spirit, our courage, and our willingness to keep learning. If we can master ourselves, nothing is impossible." Terra nodded, inspired by her friend's words. "I think you're going to change everything." Lyra's gaze returned to the stars. "Perhaps. But one thing is certain: we have an edge that no machine or alien ability can replace. The human heart. That is what will guide us through any challenge." As the moons rose higher, Lyra felt a quiet determination settle within her. She had proven herself, her species, and the untapped potential of humanity. The galaxy had seen the human edge, and there was no turning back. Lyra clenched her fists lightly, feeling the energy flowing through her body. She was ready for the future, for the challenges ahead, and for the endless possibilities of a universe full of wonders. Humanity was no longer underestimated. With courage, focus, and determination, they could achieve greatness beyond imagination. And as Lyra looked toward the horizon of stars, she knew that this was only the beginning of a story that would echo across the galaxy. A story of a human who discovered her true strength, inspired her peers, and reminded the universe that sometimes the greatest power lies not in enhancements or alien technology, but in the human spirit itself.